How's it going, YouTube? My name is Domingo, but you could call me Sunday. And today what I got for you guys is a couple tips to get you started if you want to become a photographer or videographer. So if you're not a beginner, this video isn't really going to be useful for you. But if you're a beginner, I'm going to share you guys a couple tips that I used when I first started and a couple tips that you can use to get you started. So let's get right into it. All right, so starting off with number one, the first thing I would highly recommend is you figure out what type of content you want to shoot or film. And the reason why I have this as number one is because without this, you won't really know what to do with number two, which I'll get into it after I explain this. But so what I mean by what type of content you want to shoot, when it comes to photography and videography, there's a variety of niches that you can get into. I'll give you a couple examples: sports, weddings, landscape, wildlife, nature, portrait, street, and events. And events meaning like concerts and big events like that. And the reason why I want you to figure out what type of content is because without that, you won't really know what type of equipment to get. Obviously, you can get equipment that kind of works for a little bit of everything, but it's better to get equipment that's specifically for your niche. So if you don't know at all what type of content you want to shoot, like you have no idea, my best suggestion is a wedding would be the perfect thing, because a wedding kind of tackles on a lot of niches in one. For example, in a wedding, there's portrait photography, because obviously you're going to be taking pictures of the bride and the groom and people individually. There's big family portraits, because obviously when you're taking pictures of like a whole bunch of people, there's that. There's nature photography. Depending on where the wedding is taking place, you can take pictures outside. The wildlife, I'm not really gonna say there's wildlife, because I don't want you going out finding like wildlife out in the woods trying to take pictures at a wedding. Like if you're at a wedding, you're at a wedding. There's landscape. Depending on where that wedding's taking place, you can take pictures of like the landscape. Obviously that highly depends on where the wedding's taking place. There's food photography, because there's more than likely there's gonna be food at the wedding, so you can take pictures of the food and stuff like that. So a wedding is kind of a jack of all trades, kind of, because if you can film at a wedding, well, not film, but if you can shoot at a wedding, it kind of gives you a rough idea of what you ultimately want to do. Unless if you're trying to do weddings specifically, then that's a whole different thing. But that's number one. Figure out what type of content you want to shoot. Number two, camera equipment and editing software. For editing software, if you're doing pictures, what most people use is Lightroom and Photoshop. And if you're doing video, you can use Premiere Pro or DaVinci Resolve. There's obviously other editing softwares for pictures and videos. Just use whatever feels more comfortable with you. And if you don't know any of this, that's gonna be step number three, which I'll talk into that. But talking about camera equipment. So once you have the content, which is why I wanted to put that as number one, is you got to figure out what camera you need. So for example, if you're doing sport photography, you want to go on YouTube, look up, or YouTube, or do a Google search, best beginner camera for sport photography. You're gonna find a whole bunch of like recommendations, and then just look into those recommendations. Obviously you want to do your research. You have to do a little research in the beginning so that you don't bite the bullet at the end. So for recommendations, I would recommend spending more money in the lens than in the actual camera body, because, and the reason why I say that is because the lens gives you higher quality than the body will. The body is just gonna give you like more features. The lens is what's gonna capture what's in front of you. So I would like, if I was in your shoes, I would get a $1,000 lens. This is just for example, just throwing out random numbers. A $1,000 lens and a $500 body camera, instead of getting a $1,000 body camera and a $500 lens. These are just numbers I'm throwing out. There's not exact prices out there, but there's lens out there that cost up to like $3,000, because this is going to be the most expensive part of your journey. Obviously, use what you have. So if you're starting out, if you have an iPhones and freaking Samsungs like the cameras that they have are like great. So you can use that to kind of start out, and then slowly but surely like upgrade to an actual professional camera or camera in general. But if you don't have like the funds to buy a camera right away, just use what you have. Or if you have like an old camera around, just use what you have, because using what you have is gonna actually allow you to see if you actually enjoy doing that, like when you're actually doing it, instead of just going out buying a camera, figuring out that you don't really like doing it. It was just kind of like a hobby, and then you wasted money kind of trying it out. Or you can rent out a camera. That's another option. So those are my recommendations for the camera equipment and the editing software. Number 3 is study the equipment and editing software you're using. So if you're using Lightroom and Photoshop and you don't know how to use it, go on YouTube, type in how to use Lightroom or how to use Photoshop for beginners. There's gonna be thousands upon thousands of videos. You click on whichever video you find, I guess, catches your interest. Click on it, watch it, learn from it, follow along, and you'll be good. And for the equipment, studying the equipment, you have to learn your equipment ins and outs. You don't want to know what your camera is best at and what your camera isn't best at, because you don't want to be filming something and then something happens and you have to make a quick adjustment. Say for example, you're at an event and like the lighting's a little bit too darker than what you're used to, so you have to go ahead, fix your ISO and stuff like that, make a quick adjustment. What you don't want to do is want to pull out your camera, start filming, and then, oh, I gotta change my lighting, I don't know how to do that. So then you pull out your phone, do a Google search. That's gonna waste too much time. So when you go to an event, you want to already be prepared. So this is why you have to study the equipment, and then obviously learn this editing software you're gonna be using. This last one, number 4, is easier said than done, but just get up and go out there and start getting the content that you need. Because if you have 1 through 3 down to a T, but you don't actually get the content, you're pretty much still at square one. So you have to get up, go out there, get the content you need, start working on it, edit it, perfect it, upload it, and go from there. In my next video, I'm gonna make a video on how I got to the whole photography and videography, like what I did to like attend my first event, and hopefully that can help you guys. But that'll be in my next video. For those of you who are not beginners, I know this video was very simple and basic, but please leave in the comment section beginner tips if you have any that I might have missed, which I'm pretty sure I missed a whole bunch of them. Just put them in the comment section. Let's help out these aspiring and beginner photographer and videographers that have been watching this video. Put in the comment section some tips that they can use that can help them out, because we're all here to learn and grow from it. So that'll be it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to hit that like button, comment, subscribe to my channel if you're new. Share this video with someone who you know that might be thinking about starting photography or videography. And I'll talk to you guys in my next video. I'll see you guys later. Peace.